If you've spent any time researching retiring in Portugal, and I'm guessing you have, or you wouldn't be here, you've probably read some version of the same article about 15 times. Low cost of living, 10 years of zero taxes, free healthcare, beautiful weather, easy visa. It all sounds perfect, and some of it is true. But a significant portion of what's circulating online about retiring in Portugal is either outdated, oversimplified, or just flat wrong. And when you're making a decision this big, leaving your home country, moving your retirement savings, restructuring your entire life, the difference between what the articles say and what's actually true can cost you tens of thousands of dollars and years of frustration. I'm going to walk you through the 5 things that almost every article about retiring in Portugal gets wrong. Not to scare you off, Portugal is genuinely one of the best options out there for American retirees, but you deserve accurate information. So let's get to it. Before we go any further, a quick note on how this channel works. Every claim you hear from me comes with a source, not a travel blog, not another YouTube video. Primary sources: government documents, official statistics, tax authority publications. You'll see them on screen as we go, and every single one is linked in the description. All right, mistake number 1, and this one affects your finances more than any other. Myth number 1, the NHR Tax Regime. You've almost certainly read about the NHR, the Non-Habitual Resident Tax Regime. Articles that describe it as a golden ticket. Live in Portugal, pay zero tax on your foreign income for 10 years. And for years, that was roughly accurate. It's not anymore, not for new applicants. The original NHR program closed to new applicants on December 31st, 2023. It was replaced by something called the IFICI regime, also sometimes called NHR 2.0, officially known as the Tax Incentive for Scientific Research and Innovation. The new regime has different rules, different criteria, and is not automatically available to every retiree. Under IFICI, Portuguese source employment and self-employment income is taxed at a flat 20%, but only if you meet the qualification requirements. Foreign source income is generally exempt. However, pension income, which falls under Category H, does not automatically qualify for that exemption. For retirees living on a pension or Social Security income, this distinction is critical and requires specific advice from a Portuguese tax professional. I can't tell you what your tax situation will be in Portugal. No YouTube channel can. What I can tell you is that the NHR articles you've been reading are describing a program that no longer exists for new residents. That's not a minor detail. That's the foundation of most people's financial planning for this move. Get current, personalized advice. The link in the description points to the official Portal das Finanças IFICI page. Start there. Myth number 2, cost of living/rental market. Portugal is cheap. And here's the thing, this one is true and false at the same time, depending entirely on where you plan to live. If you are comparing a Lisbon apartment to what you'd pay in a major American city, yes, it's still less. But if you came to Portugal for the retire on $1,500 a month dream that was realistic in 2019, that's a different country than the one you'll arrive in today. According to Portugal's National Statistics Institute, median rents on new lease agreements increased 10% year-on-year as of the first quarter of 2025. Lisbon's median rental value hit 16.00 euros per square meter, the highest in the country. Interior Portugal is a different story. Towns like Évora, Bragança, Castelo Branco are genuinely affordable. A 2-bedroom apartment for 500 euros per month can still be found. Groceries, dining, utilities meaningfully cheaper than coastal cities. If your retirement vision involves a slower pace, community, and your euros going further, Interior Portugal delivers that. In fact, the Alentejo Central was the only region in Portugal where rents actually decreased in that period, down 0.4% according to INE. That's not a talking point. That's official data. The problem is that most articles talk about Portugal as if it's one market. It isn't. Be specific about where you want to live before you build your budget. Myth number 3. Social Security and tax treaties. This is the one that makes tax professionals wince the most. Your United States Social Security is safe from Portuguese taxes because of the tax treaty. Here's what the treaty actually says. Under the 1994 United States Portugal Tax Treaty, the United States retains primary taxing rights on Social Security benefits paid to United States citizens. So in theory, Portugal should not be taxing your Social Security. But here's where it gets complicated. How this interacts with your Portuguese residency status, which tax regime you're under, and whether you've properly established or terminated a domicile in the right places. These are fact-specific questions. There are Americans living in Portugal who have been surprised by their Portuguese tax bills in ways they did not anticipate based on what they read online. I'm not saying Portugal will tax your Social Security. I'm saying that the answer to the question of whether Portugal will tax my Social Security is, it depends on your specific situation. The actual treaty text says private employment pensions, like your 401k, your IRA distributions, are taxable only in your country of residence. Once you become a Portuguese resident, that means Portugal. Social Security is treated differently. The United States retains the right to tax it, but even that is not a clean, simple exemption from Portuguese rules, depending on your residency status and which tax regime you qualify under. The treaty is real. The protection it provides is specific, conditional, and fact-dependent. This is not something you resolve with a blog post. You need a tax advisor who knows both systems. Myth 4. Getting the D7 visa is straightforward. The D7 visa is easy to get. Just show proof of passive income and you're in. The D7 passive income visa is a legitimate, well-designed pathway for retirees. The income thresholds are reasonable. The concept is straightforward. The execution, however, is not always smooth. Immigration attorneys and expat accounts consistently report that the San Francisco consulate has been among the slowest, with waits of 6 to 8 months or more, reported in 2024 and 2025. Boston and Washington have generally been faster. Some applicants have waited over a year, regardless of consulate. There is also a financial trap almost nobody warns about. AIMA applies income threshold rules at the date of your appointment, not when you started your application. If you began the process under 2025 thresholds, but your AIMA appointments falls in 2026, the higher 2026 requirements apply. The current figure is €920 per month for a single applicant, €1,380 for a couple. Plan your finances based on the current number, not the one you read in an article 6 months ago. The D7 visa is not the finish line. It is the starting point for the second process. The visa itself is valid for 120 days and exists solely to get you into Portugal. Once you arrive, you then schedule a separate appointment with AIMA, the Immigration Authority, to apply for your actual residence permit. That is 2 processes, 2 document packages, and potentially 2 separate waits. The full timeline from starting your consulate application journey to holding a residence permit card in your hand is typically a minimum of 6 months, often longer, depending on your consulate and AIMA appointment availability. Visa approved. Residency permit. 2 separate things, so plan for both. And myth number 5. Free healthcare for all residents. This one requires the most nuance because it's the most partially true. Portugal does have a national health system called the SNS. Legal residents are entitled to access it, and for many services, it is either free or very low cost. That part is true, but you are not automatically enrolled when you arrive. You need to register at your local health center with your residence permit, NIF, and proof of address, and that process takes several weeks. In some areas, being assigned a family doctor can take considerably longer. The SNS has staffing shortages in parts of Lisbon and Porto specifically. Health centers will ask for proof of private insurance during the registration period. Until your SNS number is issued and active, you need private coverage, and many expats keep private insurance even after SNS registration for faster appointments and access to English-speaking doctors. For a healthy 60-year-old American, basic private plans start under 120 euros per month, and that is not a trivial cost, and it belongs in your budget from day one. So, does any of this mean Portugal is a bad idea? No, not at all. I want to be clear about that. Portugal is one of the most genuinely compelling retirement destinations in the world for Americans. The culture is welcoming. The food is extraordinary. The climate, especially in the south and the Alentejo, is genuinely exceptional. The safety record, the infrastructure, the pace of life. These are all real, but the gap between what the generic retirement abroad content describes and what you will actually experience is real too. And if you go in with accurate expectations, you can make better decisions, you can avoid expensive mistakes, and you can actually get to enjoy the life you moved there for and to build. The 5 things to carry with you from this video. NHR is gone and I replaced it, and you need specific advice. Lisbon and Porto are not the same country as interior Portugal when it comes to cost of living. Your Social Security and private pension situation, including your 401k and IRA distributions, requires treaty-aware advice from professionals in both countries. Portugal can tax your private pension income once you become a resident. Get advice before you move, not after. The D7 visa and your residence permit are 2 separate processes, so start early and budget for private health insurance during your transition. Every source I used in this video is linked below in the description. Not summarized, but linked. The actual government pages, the actual treaty test, the actual statistics. Go verify everything for yourself. That's how this channel works. In the next episode, we are going to do a deep dive on D7 visa process step by step, consulate by consulate, with realistic timelines based on 2025 data. If you're actively planning a Portugal move, subscribe so you don't miss it, and be sure to share it with others. This is Next Chapter Abroad. Your retirement, your world. We will see you next time.